Hi everyone, Gretchen's here. I know that Judy's here and I see that Cheryl is here, so hello. If anybody else is here, just give a quick hello in the chat so we know. There's a couple of people who can't make it today who are going to be watching the recording, but I want to see who's here before we get started so nobody falls behind. These are the 3 cards we're going to be making today. So everybody should have their kits. And I did all the stamping for everybody, so that'll speed things up a little, but I'll give you some hints for how I did it as we go along. You are going to need your scoreboard if you have one. That's the only thing that the folds are a little different than on normal cards, so the scoreboard helps. I think we'll do this one first. So just get out your envelope with the larger piece of blue cardstock. Get that ready to go. And I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes because it's just my clock saying it's just about 2 o'clock now. So actually, I guess if you are a little anxious to get started, the 2 things you can do right now, if you want to get ahead, is to attach, for the other 2 cards, attach these butterfly pieces to your cardstock. I'm going to wait and do them as we get to the card, but if you want to do it now, you can. And so on the blue card here, you've got a piece of white cardstock that has the shadow of the butterfly. And then this is a holographic paper, and that's got the detail on it. So I just glued, you could use a glue stick or a glue pen or liquid glue. Just use your glue sparingly because you don't want it oozing out the edges. And then on this card, you've got a white, somewhere in here, you've got a light pink shadow, and again, the same holographic detail to glue those together. So whatever you want to do, if you want to wait till I do it, or you want to put them together now, that's fine. You might want to have a tissue on hand too, not only to clean up any excess glue, but after I glued them together, I kind of polished up that Mylar paper again, because the holographic paper, because it gets, fingerprints and things. It's really pretty, but whoops, it does pick up those fingerprints. I'm just looking for the package. Oh, I put it up here. What that paper looks like, in case you were interested in purchasing some. Get all the goodies here. So this is the holographic paper I used, and it's called, this color is called Twinkle Toes. It comes in a couple of different colors in the catalog. And there's 3 12 by 12 sheets in the package. And as you can see, I put it through my Cuttlebug and it cuts really well. And I assume it would cut just as well through the Cricut too. It's not, well, you can tell, but you know, it's not really thick, so it cuts really nicely. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, no tears, no crying and scrapbooking or card making or any of that stuff, Kathy. You can do it. Okay, in case you started gluing, I'm going to give it another minute. And then we'll get started making the card. Kathy, we're going to start with this, the blue base card first. So if you want to get that envelope ready to go. These up here. Let's see how much I can fit on my screen here so you guys can see. I know these cards look complicated, but I think they're easier than they look. So hopefully you'll find that too. And but if you have any questions as we go along, of course, just let me know. I'm playing with my screens here so I can see the one that's not in reverse easier, so I can see what I'm showing you guys. Okay. So, the height of this card is this height of a standard A2 card. It's just, if we ignore this piece here, this, you know, the front panel is just shorter. So this is the 5.5 inches you would normally cut the card, but instead of 8.5 inches where you would score at 4 1/4, it's 6.5 inches. And we're going to score, well, we're going to score at the 4 1/4, and then you're left with a 2 1/4 inch panel. So make sure when you put your piece of blue cardstock in your scoreboard, your 6.5 inch side is at the top. And then, like I said, you're going to score at 4 1/4. And the proper way to fold is towards the bump. So we made the indent, and you're going to fold away from the indent. And that's more important on heavier cardstocks. This is a little heavy, but I'm pointing that out because in the next card we're going to do, that's going to be important because we're going to make a Z fold. Okay, so we have a opening card. It's just our front panel is a little short. And then this is the add-on panel here, and you're going to put it in your scoreboard so the 4-inch side is at the top. It's almost square, but not. So make sure your 4-inch side is across the top, and you're going to score at 3.5 inches. And then you can go ahead and fold on that score line too. Now, if you want to be really precise on your tape placement, you can use like a score tape or Wonder Tape, Miracle Tape like that, and put it right, put it right in the middle of your flap here, your 1/2-inch flap. Or you can use your tape runner or your gun, or you could even use glue if you were careful with it. And again, just put your adhesive down the center. And we're going to attach it about 1/2 inch up from the bottom. Now, this measurement is not super crucial, so you can estimate. And what you want to do is you want to put the edge of this card next to the score line of this panel. You don't want to cross over the score line because then it won't lay flat. You want to put it next to it or just a little bit away. And just burnish that really well so the tape sticks. And I turn it over and like to burnish it that way. So that's all you have to do to make it. And you can get really fancy with this. You can use all different sizes and shapes, to add extra panels to your card. Oh, the second measurement, this one, Kathy, you put the 4.5 inch.
4-inch.
The 4-inch side on the top, and you score at 3.5 inches. And you'll know you have it the right way because your panels will fit on it with that 1/8 inch border all the way around. So, you could, if you wanted to, you could keep this the full length and still add a panel on, or just, add a skinny one or whatever. This just gives you some ideas of how you can make a fancier card and impress people. And from here, it's basically then just decorating the panels. So on the big back panel here, I kind of this starry, cloudy sky paper. And all these panels are just 1/4 inch shorter in each direction than the size of the cardstock. And these papers are the You Are Enough paper collection, which is the special. It's the National Scrapbooking Day month special, and it's on sale through the end of this month. So it comes in just the paper pack. You can get the paper pack plus a sticker collection, which I did not use in the cards because it's not easy to use those stickers in cards because I'd have to get a set for every single person. And then there's this coordinating cardstock. that comes with it. And then there's a stamp set, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Okay, so continuing on the inside of the card, we're going to put, this is a piece of the coordinating cardstock, and you see it's got this, this is the sapphire. So on one side it's just the solid, and on the other side it has this pretty rose gold kind of embossing on it. Embossing, debossing, whatever method they used. And that goes on the side panel on the inside. And then this is the sapphire. The cardstock set comes with 2 pieces of each color. One is with the rose gold, and one is the solid. So this is the solid sapphire cardstock, and this design that was in the stamp set was stamped with white daisy pigment ink. And this goes on this panel. And then this ballerina pink with the rose gold. Will go on the outside of the skinny panel. And this I stamped on with the stamp set. And this is the stamp set here. It goes with the collection. So again, it's available to the end of the month. And what I did was I stamped the UR first. And then I fit the beautiful in so it would fit under that U there. And then I added this little branch. And this is all in the regular black ink. And that just gets centered onto the front of this panel. And then you're going to have a little zip strip. You may have this wine colored, I think it's sangria, with the floral, or you'll have the blue with the butterflies. And you're just going to place that under the beautiful wherever you like it. And then I think this is the only piece. No, one more. Just a little bit of fussy cutting in this glass. And we're going to cut out this butterfly. And again, this butterfly is the stamp set. It's a 2-piece butterfly. You've got the shadow. So I stamped the shadow in the lighter color pink, and then the detail in the darker color. And you could, you could use the 2-color like I did. You could just use one or the other. You could stamp the detail in a pigment ink and emboss it. Make it look more like this. You can use like gold embossing or any colored embossing. That would look cool too. And luckily it's a pretty easy shape to cut out. Now, this set does come, you can buy it with thin cuts with die cuts. So the shadow would have a die cut. This star type thing that we used on the blue panel has one, and these little diamonds, the heart and diamond shapes, all have thin cuts too. So if you like the shapes but you don't want to cut them out, you can get the coordinating dies to go with them. And this is just going to get put on with a bit of foam tape. Just be careful of where you place the foam tape on the shape, because as you can see on the sample, you know, the wing comes up. So you just don't want to have adhesive under the top of that wing there. And looking at the back, that would be the one on the left side there. So I'm just going to avoid putting any foam tape there. And attach it at a little bit of an angle here. And there we go. I'll just give you a minute to catch up if you need it. This is the this catalog comes to an end on June 30th, which is Wednesday, I think. So I am going to put in an order. If anybody wants anything, you can order through me. Let me know by tonight, or you can place an order yourself, of course. But towards the back of the catalog here, this is the You Are Enough collection that we are using today. It's really pretty. There's some really pretty projects online. If you wanted to do a search on the You Are Enough, or Close to My Heart, You Are Enough, you can find some pretty samples out there. So this is the whole paper collection. This is the sticker sheet that I showed you before. The coordinating cardstock, like I said, you get one of each of these 6 colors with the designs on them, and then a solid. These are the Picture My Life cards, which I did not use in this class, but you could use them like my other Stars and Sparklers class to use those for cards as well. And then you've got the stamp set, or the stamp set with the thin cuts. And these are the butterflies. Now, the butterflies I used in my sample are, I believe they're Spellbinders. I've had them for a very long time. I use them for a lot. So I didn't feel the need to buy another set of butterflies, although this really big one is kind of cool. But just as easily, if you didn't have a set of your own already, this set is great. It's got 5 dies, so you could do this one. You can do 3 different layers, and this one you can do 2. So this butterfly would work great in place of these 2 here. And then there's this sequin, these butterfly sequins that are kind of holographic. I have a set of them that I can show you if you wanted to see those. There we go. So those are a little extra shiny bling you can add to your cards or scrapbooks. So those are fun too. So if anybody wants anything, just let me know. As far as I know, it's all still in stock. Okay, so we can move on to the next card. And we'll do this blue one next, which has this fun Z fold. All right, so this white cardstock is actually the size of a standard A2 card. So it is 5.5 by 8.5. The difference is we're going to make an extra fold in this. So a regular card, I can't actually fold it over here with it together as it is. But if you could see, you know, if this fold wasn't in here, this second fold here, it would just be a standard card. So you're cutting it the same size, which makes it a little easier, I think. And I'm just gonna, my stylus is the thing that always gets lost in my mug here. Okay, so on a standard card, you put the 8.5 inch side in your scoreboard and you fold at 4 1/4. Or you fold it in half. So if you don't have a scoreboard, you can just go ahead and fold it in half. Now the difference is we need that extra fold on the top. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip it over because it is a Z fold. And we want those folds to be as neat as possible. So we're going to fold it over. And you're going to fold it at the halfway point of that first 4 1/4 inch score. So that's 2 1/8. So that's the little line right after the 2. So you're going to go ahead and score there. And that's all there is to it. So again, we're going to score towards the bump. So on this one, I'm going to turn it over and score towards the bump and just burnish on that score line. And then fold it back over to that 4 1/4 inch score line and fold and burnish on that. And then we have our Z fold. So I'll go over that one more time in case anybody needs more information. So I'm just trying to think now. So you're going to put your 8.5 inch side in your scoreboard along the top, and you're going to score at your 4 1/4 inches like you normally would for a standard card. And then you're going to flip it over and you're going to score at 2 1/8. And then you're always going to score, fold towards the bump. So on this first one, you're going to fold towards the bump and burnish. And then on your second score line, you're going to turn it over and fold the opposite direction. And that gives you a Z fold. Okay, and then we're actually going to put our pattern papers on here first before we add the next piece. So we're going to put this blue piece with the writing on it. That's going to be on the back panel. The shape of these cards give you a little extra room, so they're great to showcase a lot of pretty paper you might have. If you have a bunch of coordinating paper that you want to show off, you've got extra panels than you do on a standard card. So it's a nice opportunity. Now this middle panel, we're actually going to leave white, but we're going to put these hexagons on the front panel. Whoops. Bad steering there. Okay, and now we're going to score our teal paper. Now be careful when you're going to score this, because this is not a cardstock weight. It's kind of a heavier text weight paper. So just when you score, don't push down too heavily. All right, so you're going to score. You're going to put the long side, the 6.5 inch side, along the top, and you're going to score at 2 1/8. I just want to show you here, my stylus has two different ends. It's the bigger and the smaller, and you would think to use the smaller, but if you use the bigger one, you're less likely to puncture your paper. So I'm just going to do it a couple times, but lightly. And then you're going to flip it over, and we're going to flip it over this way. So so the scored line is over, it's at 4 3/8 there. And then you're going to score it 2 1/8 again. By doing it that way, you make sure your scores are a little more uniform and it's a little easier. But again, you have your scores in the two different directions. You have the indent and you have the bump here, so that you can create a proper Z fold. Now again, on this is a lighter weight paper. It's not going to be quite as crucial, but it's always good to learn the proper way to do it, so then if you do have a heavier paper, you don't run into problems. So again, just fold each of them. And in this case, your middle panel is just slightly bigger, so you will see that. Okay. And then we're going to add our pattern paper onto these again before we attach it. So you've got the two blue papers on the two outside panels and the white in the middle. And that white gives you space to write a message. Might be a little challenging when you have the card together. So if you know what you want to write before or stamp before you put it together, that might be helpful. Or you could always, if you didn't want to attach it now because you don't know what you want to write on it, you can attach it afterwards, or you can attach another piece on top of it if that works better for you. I'm just putting all my adhesive on all three pieces while I have the gun in my hand. Okay. So each piece just goes in the center of each panel, all on the same side. And as usual, the measurements for all of these pieces are in the cutting guide I sent you if you want to make more. So you have your own mini Z-fold card right there. And then I'm just measuring where I put it, which is kind of a weird measurement, but okay. So what you're going to do is put adhesive on the back of the back panel, which is this one. You're just going to put it on that one panel as if you were attaching it to any other card. And then just because it's easier, I fold it up. And you're going to put it about 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the cardstock. And again, the way we're attaching it, it doesn't have to be exact, because when we attach the other end, we'll make sure it's attached in the right place. And you're going to center it from top to bottom. Now, if you give me a minute, I will tell you it's about 7/8 from each the top and the bottom. If you want to make, actually measure those, mark them, make sure it's exactly centered, but I like to just eyeball it. So it's attached to the back here and the top is loose. So now you're going to flip this open. So again, you're seeing the back, which is just the solid paper. And you're just going to put a line of adhesive. And if you have skinny adhesive, you can put 2 lines really close together. One should be sufficient, but depending on how much glue you like to use, just don't go too far in. And you're going to close the 2 white panels so that you're looking at the hexagons. And you're going to fold it flat on top of your card so they're laying on top of the middle panel of the teal section. And then you're going to fold back. I've got some adhesive overhang here. You're just going to fold back this on this first score line and attach it flat to the hexagons. And this is why you don't want to go too wide on the adhesive, because you've only got, what is this, about 5/8? Yeah, about 5/8 of an inch space here. So you don't really want to go wider than that, because otherwise you'd have adhesive under here. And that's it. And that's how you get it so that it's perfect. It folds perfectly flat. But when you open it, you have this fun shape. And then after that, it's just decorating it like you would decorate any other card. So I've got this banner here, which again, from the stamp set, I stamped the UR near the edge, and then I stamped the wonderful a little bit to the right, and then I cut I dovetailed the ends to make it look like a banner, so that it would fit nicely and be a good size. And that I'm just going to attach with foam tape, but again, see, it overhangs the tails here overhang, so just don't put any adhesive on those two spots. And if you don't like foam tape, you could just you could put it down flat. So those are all my little pieces of foam tape. And then I'm going to put it here about 1/2 inch up from the bottom of the tail panel, and about 1/4 inch from the edge of the hexagons here, just so you don't want the tails of the banner going past the edge of the card here, because otherwise it'll get crunched in your envelope. And then this is the little heart-shaped faceted heart, which I gave you 2 of them, so you'd have an extra. So this one is, like I said, the set does come with a thin cut, but I think it's pretty easy to cut out yourself. Short straight lines are always a lot easier. And then what I did on this was, see, it's overhanging, so I put a little piece of foam tape on this piece here that's overhanging, just to give it a little support, because it is a thinner paper, but then I just put flat adhesive at the bottom. So I have the one piece I didn't use on the banner, and so see, I put the one piece of foam tape and regular adhesive below that. And then just stuck it up there. Okay, so now if you didn't, wow, those pieces don't want to go anywhere. If you didn't already glue your butterflies together, we're going to do that. And I'm going to use my glue pen. I'm going to be careful about it because I don't want a bunch of extra adhesive. And sometimes when I just kind of make broad motions with my glue pen, I fold up the edges, so I don't want to do that. you just glue it onto the background. And I like to turn it over. Make sure you're turning it over onto a clean piece of scrap paper if you do it, and burnish it that way. So I could get a good connection without getting a lot of fingerprints on that holographic paper, or if the glue oozes out, I'm not pushing it around. If the glue oozes out a bit, it's going down onto the scrap paper. Even better if your scrap paper doesn't have printing on it. And then if you have any glue marks or fingerprints, you could just wipe that off with a tissue. Or lick your finger. Make sure your hands are washed, right? And there you go. And again, I put this on with foam tape. And this wing is hanging off, so you just make sure you don't put any foam tape or adhesive on that wing. I don't see any questions, so hopefully that means everybody's doing okay and they're not totally overwhelmed. So this is the wing you don't want the adhesive on. And put it up here. And there you go. I think this is a really impressive looking card, but pretty easy to put together. So everybody will be amazed you send it to. And it stands up nicely for people who display their cards. Oh, good, Cheryl. I'm glad you like it. Oh, of course, it's my favorite of the group because it's my colors, but just going to give everybody a minute to catch up or get a drink. Save your little heart. I mean, if you wanted to use your heart and put a second one on the card somewhere, that'd be fun too. Or you can use it for something else. Oh, good, Kathy. Glad you're doing okay. All right, so now we'll do the third card. This one seems to have a lot of pieces. So this is a standard size card. It opens at the top, which is not, normally we'd open it at the side, but every once in a while you want to do something a little different. So it opens at the top and it is that standard A2 size. The difference is we're going to kind of cut out the middle. and put this vertical strip in to make this window, to give it a little interest. So when you are cutting your cardstock, you can cut it the standard size, which would be your 8.5 by 11 inch paper cut in half. So it's 4.25 by 11. And then you'd cut these other pieces from there. So this piece is, see, the size of the back panel plus this first piece, which is 7.25 inches. So you're gonna score it at 5.5, just like you would a regular card. So this is the back piece, is the size of a standard card. You just have a shorter flap at the top. Now this other piece, your bottom piece, is 2 inches. So you're just going to lay that right on top of the card and line up the bottom edges. And now you're going to take your vertical strip, which is 1.25 by 3, and you're going to put a strip of adhesive at the top, along the short side at the top, and along the bottom. So just 2 strips there. And what I did was I slid this behind. Now, if you're not comfortable sliding it behind, if you can't hold this bottom piece in place, actually, here, this is an easier way to do it. You don't have to worry about holding that bottom piece quite in place yet, but what you're going to do is you're going to slide your top with the adhesive up. I know you can't see that adhesive maybe there with the glare. So you want the adhesive facing up, and you're going to slide it underneath this top flap. And I need something with some contrast so you can see it. It's my Snapfish envelope here. So you're going to slide it underneath, just leaving about 1/4 inch. There, do you see that? On the right side of the card there. So you're just going to put it on. This 3-inch piece gives you a little extra room, but you got to make sure your adhesive is fully under this top flap, and then bring the top flap on top of it and just stick it down. So you see that you have that edge about 1/4 inch, and the adhesive is hidden underneath. So Cheryl's asking me to do it again, and I don't know if I did it enough, so I'm going to do it one more time. So, you just have your piece with your flap. Maybe I can do it up here. You're going to slide your adhesive underneath the top flap. You're going to go in about 1/4 inch from the right side there of the card, and you're just going to bring your flap down and squeeze it on. Okay, good. Cheryl got it. And so burnish it down, and you're attached. Now you still have this adhesive, your strip of adhesive at the bottom. And what you're going to do is line up and hold it up a little so it doesn't stick prematurely, but just line up your bottom edge, bottom and side edges of this piece right on top of the bottom piece, and stick it down on top of the adhesive. And then you're sure to get the right size. All right. And then again, all we have to decorate, but you do have to do it in the right order. So the first piece we're going to do is this vertical piece. And again, it's cut a little longer, so you don't have to worry. And that it's this kind of pink marbly piece. So you're gonna center it left to right on your strip, and then just you have about 1/4 of an inch at the top and at the bottom. Whoops, I didn't get that quite centered. If you don't burnish down your tape, often you can peel it back up. Once you varnish it, it makes it a lot harder though. So make sure it's where you want it before you really stick it down well. Okay. And now you can put your top and bottom pieces on. So first we're going to put this pink glitter paper up there. And you're going to put it 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom edge. I'm going to open my card so hopefully the contrast you could see a little better. So you'll have 1/8 of an inch on either side and at the bottom. The skinnier, yes, your skinnier, your shorter and skinnier piece of glitter paper. And then this piece of kind of the reddish with the stars on it, it's the hexagons are on the back, is the piece that goes above that. And this piece is going to overlap the glitter paper a little. I like when I'm doing this, I'd rather overlap it a little bit so you're not short. So when you put it on, the edges should, see, it's the same width as the glitter paper. So those edges should line up, but you're going to put it down about 1/8 of an inch from the fold line. So again, you have that equal border all the way around. And then this, like I said, I think it's sangria. Just looking to see if it told me. With the rose gold on it, that's what goes on the bottom. And that just gets centered on the bottom panel. And that's the front of your card. We're going to do the inside and then we'll come back and do the butterfly. So on the bottom panel, we're going to use this ombre paper. I already stamped on it, and the way, you know, you can do it to one of two ways, depending on how confident you are in your stamping. You could attach the piece first and then close it and then go ahead and stamp it so that you know it's in the right spot, it's in the window. Or you can just place it there without attaching it and do your stamping if you're worried that your stamping might get smudged, and then attach it. Just be careful when you're stamping through a window like that your block, you know how sometimes, here, I'll show you. Okay, so I'm going to put this, let me glue this down first, since I have adhesive on it and I don't want to get my hands on the adhesive. Where is the U-Shine? Okay, so you've got your stamp on your block and you've got space on either side. And sometimes you ink it up. And you get black ink on the sides. All right, let's really make it look bad so you can actually see it. Okay, so you get black ink, usually not that much, but sometimes you get black ink on the sides like that. If you are going to stamp over your good card, make sure you either wipe that black ink off first before you stamp it, or you put a piece of scrap paper over your good paper before you actually stamp it. Because we've all gotten ink where we didn't want it before. So that's a little, hopefully that's a helpful hint. Okay, so we put this ombre paper down, and then these pieces are actually all the same paper. And one of them is a little shorter than the other one. And the shorter one goes on the bottom and the wider one goes on the top. You're using the peachy side. Unless you want to change it up, of course. So again, this is the slightly smaller piece, and it just gets centered on the bottom panel there. And this is the slightly bigger piece, and it will get centered on the top panel. And you'll know which is which if you try to attach the wrong one, because your spacing, you won't have that 1/8 inch spacing all the way around. And then you might just want to, you've got that extra layer there, so just make sure that it attaches well. And then we're going to put our bigger piece of pink glitter paper right down the entire top of the card where your vertical connector piece is. So I'm just going to line it up with the top edge here and center it left to right on that vertical strip. And there we go. Now we got some shiny stuff on the inside. And then we can close it back up and we can add our butterfly. If you're using liquid glue on this, just make sure you use the smallest of drops so it doesn't ooze. Whoops. There. And like I said, I'm going to turn it over onto my clean scrap paper and burnish it down that way. And again, this one, no, I didn't do foam tape on here, but I was careful. I really only added the adhesive to this side, although you could add a little bit underneath that wing too. So I think I'll do that this time. You just don't want to have any in this bottom section because that's going to overhang the opening. And there you go. That's it. Hi, Donna. Welcome. We're just finishing up a few cards here. So that's the third card. So I hope they're pretty quick, right? I hope you thought they were easier than maybe they looked in the picture, and you feel confident that you can go make some more on your own. Oh, wow. Let's prop that one up a little. It's getting a lot of glare. If anybody has any questions, I'll pause a minute and before I sign off, and just remind you about if you want to order any of these supplies, they are only available through Wednesday, June 30th. And but I'm going to be putting in an order tonight, so if you can let me know by tonight if you just want anything on that order. Oh, good, Cheryl. I'm glad you liked them and you're going to be using this in the future. I think they're fun. And like I said, once you start, you could probably come up with lots of other ideas on your own. And then my next card class, the next class is a layout class. The Stars and Sparkles. And then my next card class is the Chick cards. And I should have this information ready to go, but where's my calendar here? I wasn't thinking ahead. I want to say August 1st. No. Yeah, August 1st. Yeah, I was right. Is the Chick card workshop. And let me get them in case you haven't seen them yet. And in this workshop, I'm going to be coloring with watercolors, markers, and colored pencils. So you can follow along. If you have all the supplies, you can try all the different methods. If you only have one of them, then you can use that. Or if you just want to watch and see which one you might want to invest in, which one you like best. So we'll try coloring lots of different ways there. So those are the Chick 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 cards. So if you want to take that class on August 1st, let me know. And then of course the recording will be available if you can't make it live. So I don't see any other questions, so I will sign off. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of the day. Stay cool, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.